Good morning, everyone. Our group topic is explain how neoclassical economists extended the economic analysis by discussing on imperfect competition and monetary economics. We are from Group 6 and we have five members, which is me, Richard, Teo Kok Ming, Ong Yi Chuan, Tan Kok Sing, and Taeyang Jeng.
So, good morning, doctor. My name is Teo Kok Min, 286175. So, I will start with the introduction. First of all, neoclassical school, it did not have five major questions. It only have three extensions of economic analysis as compared to the earlier classicals and marginalists. So, the three extensions of economic analysis are value theories, monetary economics, and imperfect competition. So, first of all, value theory. So, value theory, the neoclassical economics stress that both demand and supply in determining the market prices of goods, services, and resources, while classicals only focus on supply, marginalists only on demand. Monetary economics, there are several of neoclassical economics took a greater interest in the role of money in the economy that did than the earlier marginalists. Imperfect competition, the neoclassical economics extended marginal structure other than pure competitions, pure monopoly, and duopoly. The first differences, value theory, already discussed earlier by the group 5. So group 6, our group, will be focused on discuss the second and third differences, which is the monetary economics by Wicksell and Fisher, and imperfect competition by Chamberlain and John Robinson. So the monetary economics. So there are no separate school of monetary economics, although some contemporary economics are called monetarists, while some economic schools emphasize monetary phenomena more. Classical, Marxist school, and earlier marginalists, they regarded money merely as a view that has to pull aside to examine the real world. They also felt that the money and prices are subordinated to more basic economic factors. Money economic theories was also destined to increase the importance over the years with the growth of banking, credits, and economic fluctuation, also increasingly important to monetary policies of central banks and governments. So the two persons showing the PowerPoint, Wicksell and Fisher, they made two whole contributions to the economics, which are they explode and areas that had been neglected but was growing in importance and therefore they require emphasis. They also help integrate monetary analysis into general economic theories. Even though the certain aspect theories presented by these two, Wicksell and Fisher, are more associated with the macroeconomics than microeconomics, these economics are still within the overall Marshallian neoclassical tradition. So the following part will be focused on the contribution of Wicksell and Fisher as the monetary economics in the neoclassical school.
My name is Ong Chuan. My matrix number is 284950. John Gustav Knut Wicksell was born in Stockholm, Sweden. After studying mathematics, language, literature, and philosophy as an undergraduate at the University of Uppsala, he took advanced degree in mathematical and physics there. He was both a scholar and a social reformer, two pursuits that in his day were often considered incompatible. Wicksel's interest in social problem and reform led him to a study of economics. From 1885 to 1890, he studies at university in England, France, Germany, and Austria. His most memorable experience in the study of economic theory was his discovery of von Born Breitbart's book on capital theory. This book had a profound influence on his own economic thinking. Wicksell made several major contributions to economics. However, his chief claim to fame lies in his contribution to monetary economics. These advancements include an analysis of the role of interest rate in the achieving an equilibrium price level or in generating cumulative inflationary or deflationary movement. recognition of the potential contribution of the government and the central bank in retarding or promoting price stability. An early statement of the saving investment approach to macroeconomic equilibrium, this last contribution established Wicksell as the father of the so-called Stockholm School of Economics. His work became one of the sources of Keynesian economics. Keynes himself complimented Wicksell as an important precursor of the own idea. Wicksell's objective was the synthesize monetary theory, business cycle theory, public finance, and price theory into one system. Price level change question: why do prices collectively rise or fall? To answer this question, Wicksell turned to an analysis of interest rate. He distinguished between the normal or natural rate of interest and the bank rate. Normal or natural rate of interest depend on supply and demand for real capital that is not yet invested. The supply of capital flow from those who postpone consuming part of their income and thereby accumulate wealth. The demand for capital depends on the profit that can be realized from its use or its marginal productivity. The interaction of supply and demand determines the natural interest rate. Bank rate. Bank credit due that can extend loan even at very low rates of interest. They need not lend out all of the fund places at their disposal by savers. Hence, the bank rate of interest may be either less than or greater than the normal or natural rate of interest. Price level will change in either two cases. Case 1, bank rate less than natural rate. If the bank lend money at lower rate than natural rate, is saving decrease and consumption increase. Simultaneously, cost of borrowing decrease, investment increase, income increase, and price increase. The anticipation of price increase will cause price to rise even more. Equilibrium is disturbed and a cumulative upward price movement begins. The price will rise without limit as long as bank rate less than natural rate. Case 2, bank rate more than natural rate. If the bank rate more than natural rate is, saving increase and consumption decrease. Simultaneously, cost of borrowing increase and investment, income and price will decrease. With the price of both capital good and consumption good decrease, the general price level will decrease and deflation will occur. Implication for public policy, Wicksell emphasized the role of government and the central bank in promoting economic stability. In this Interest and Price, published in 1898, he became the first economist to advocate stabilizing wholesale price by controlling discount and interest rate. The principal cause or cyclical fluctuation, he said, is the fact that technological and commercial progress has not maintained the same rate of advance as the increase in needs, especially of an expanding population. With demand rising, people seek to exploit the situation by increasing investment, but it takes time to increase the volume of output through new discoveries, inventions, and other improvements. The rush to convert large masses of liquid capital into fixed capital produces a boom. If, however, the technical improvements are already in operation and no new one promise a profit in excess of the margin of risk, depreciation occur, Wicksell did not pressure that real causes of business fluctuation in great depths. He instead focuses in the attention of the monetary causes, which we discussed previously. To eliminate this latter cause, he advocated that bank establish a rate of interest in the neither raises nor lower commodity prices, that is one at which the bank rate of interest equal to normal or natural rate of interest. The interest rate, remember, is the rate that supply and demand would determine if money did not exist and all lending were in the form of capital goods. The natural rate of interest itself, however, is not fixed. it fluctuated with all the real causes of the swing in economy, such as the efficiency of production, the supply of fixed and liquid capital, the supply of labor and land, and so forth, and exact coincidence of the market and the natural rate interest is therefore unlikely unless bankers do something about it. Wicksell fears that the growing production and the stock of goods will inflate currency, thus causing the interest rate to fall and pricing to rise. Therefore, the free coinage of gold should be suspended and the world should pass over to an international paper standard. Such a standard is usually regarded as a means of meeting a growing scarcity of gold, but it can just as well be used to correct an overabundance. Saving. In discussing aggregate saving and investment, Wicksell analyzed the theory of forced saving. This was not a new idea. Bentham has presented this doctrine, which he had called forced frugality, in his Manual of Political Economy, written by 1804 but published in 1843. In analyzing the role of government in increasing capital, Bentham has spoken of taxes and paper money as being forced frugality. Creating paper money, he has said, it is a kind of indirect taxation because it acts as income tax on those people with fixed incomes. John Stuart Mill, in On Profit and Interest, in his essay on some unsettled question of political economy, written in 1829 or 1830, had stated that in banker depreciation, the currency in operate to a certain extent as a forced accumulation. The higher product price takes away some of the real income of consumer. Leon Walras clearly has stated that theory of forced saving in 1879, probably inspiring Wicksell and Truesdale, all the later German authors who dealt with the subject. Fisher, born on 27 February 1867 in New York, United States, a young mathematician but turned to economics, published several highly successful mathematical textbooks, having suffered from tuberculosis as a young man, writing several books on how to be a healthy and lifelong, invented mechanical gadget, one of which was the invisible card index system. Individuals who are responsibility for introducing the concept of monetary in neoclassical school beside fiscal policy. Mathematical investigation in the theory of value and price, the nature of capital and income, the purchasing power of money, elementary principle of economics, stabilizing the dollar, the making of index number, the money illusions, the theory of interest, boom and depressions, the debit deflation theory of Great Depression.
So now we will talk about the quantity theory of money. There are 5 determinants of the purchasing power of money, or its inverse, the price level. The first one is volume of currency in circulation. The second one is the velocity of circulation. The third one is the volume of bank deposits subject to check. The fourth one is its velocity. The fifth one is the volume of trade. So the Fisher's equation of exchange, which is MV plus M across coffee, V across coffee equal PT. M is the quantity of money, V is its velocity of circulation, M across coffee is the quantity of demand deposits, V across coffee is its velocity of circulation, P is the average level of prices, while T is the quantity of goods and services transacted or sold, with each unit being counted each time it is sold or resold. According to Fisher, price vary directly with the quantity of money, which is M and M across coffee, and the velocity of circulation, which is V and V across coffee. Second one is prices vary inversely with the volume of trade, which is the T. The third one is the volume of demand deposits tends to hold a fixed relation to the quantity of currency in circulation. That is, deposits are normally a relatively fixed, definitely multiple of currency. Next is cause and effect relationship between the quantity of currency and the price level. Fisher assumed that the velocity of circulation and the volume of trade are constant. The tendency towards stability in T also depends on full employment equilibrium, because with considerable unemployment, an increase in M might very well increase T instead of P. In the long run, the volume of trade also grows with the change in the population, efficiency of production, and so forth. In the short run, with a fully employed economy, the quantity of currency in circulation normally determines the price level. Next is, what is the transmission mechanism through which increases or decreases in M cause changes in P? People desire to hold a specific quantity of cash balances in relationship to their expenditures. The increase in the amount of cash in the economy disturbs this optimum ratio, causing individuals to readjust their cash to expenditure ratios by increasing expenditures. Hence, according to Fisher, there is a direct link between increased currency and prices. Wicksell had stressed an indirect link, which is money creation would cause changes in the bank interest rate that would set off changes in saving and investment that would eventually cause the price level to change. Now we will talk about monetary policy. The quantity theory of money offers a way to stabilize the overall price level and thereby stabilize the economy. Might be achieved with irredeemable paper money, but Fisher took dim view for solution before the Great Depression 1930. Fisher's plan abandoned gold coins and used only gold certificates, paper money redeemable in gold bullion. Fisher believed that price fluctuation caused rather than result from business fluctuations. Therefore, stabilized price by controlling the quantity of money would eliminate the business cycle. After crash of 1929, Fisher saw the greatest cause of deflation and depression as the growth of debts. Fisher believed that fluctuations in demand deposit are the greatest cause of business fluctuations. Fisher's solution was to require 100% reserves behind demand deposits, thereby divorcing the process of creating and destroying money from the business of banking. The first one is buy liquid bank up assets up to 100% of the checking deposits. Second one is banks could lend out only their own money or money put into savings account. The third one is banks would have to levy service charge on deposit to compensate themselves for their loss of earnings. The biggest benefits of Fisher's policy would be the elimination of great monetary inflation and deflation. To stabilize the purchasing power of the dollar, the currency commission would be required to buy securities when the index was below the official par and to sell when it was above. It is apparent that Fisher did not think that business cycles are inherent in the economy. Fisher did outstanding work in mathematical economics, statistics, and index number. Fisher was pioneer in developing the new field of econometrics, which made statistical methods as a part of economic analysis. Fisher was honored for his contributions by being elected president of the American Economics Association, the American Statistical Association, and the Econometric Society. Now, we will move to chapter 17, which is the neoclassical school, the departure from pure competition. Theories of imperfect competition are well within the scope and tradition of marginalist or neoclassical school. For example, Carnot developed models of pure monopoly and duopoly as early as 1838, and Edgeworth and Wicksell analyzed situations in which demand curves faced by competitors were less than perfectly elastic. The interest in imperfect competition arose because of the gap in economic theory of pure models of competition and monopoly, and because the theory of pure competition was becoming increasingly untenable. Pure competition applied most fully to agriculture, but even there, the theory was becoming less suitable to modern conditions than it had in earlier times. According to many economists, the neoclassical theory of pure competition had less direct applicability to modern industrial production and trade than to agriculture. The methodology of the theories of imperfect competition discussed in this chapter shows all the characteristics of the neoclassical school. It deals with marginalism and the microeconomic approach in an abstract, deductive, and subjective manner, and its economics assumes a rational, static, and momentarily. unchanging world that tends toward equilibrium. By showing how monopolies can raise prices above the competitive equilibrium level to yield economic profit over the long run, the theories concerning departure from pure competition were influential in creating a greater willingness among economists to accept more vigorous government antitrust policies and government regulation of the profits of utility monopolies. Pure competition as a goal has been replaced by workable competition, which represents a compromise between pure competition and oligopoly. From these additions to the neoclassical theory, we learn that under monopolist competition, even in the absence of the power to realize a monopoly profit, prices are likely to be higher and output lower than under pure competition. Furthermore, under conditions of monopolistic competition and monopoly, the factors of production do not receive returns equivalent to the value of their marginal contributions. These new theories thus struck a blow to the widespread idea that a private enterprise system necessarily results in the best allocation of productive resources and necessarily rewards all the factors of production appropriately. Our central attention in this assignment will be on Chamberlain and Robinson, whose collective contribution was to explore several situations that lie between pure competition and pure monopoly.
Next, I will continue with the Fisher theory. There are three important theories in the Fisher theory, which is the theory interest, theory quantity of money, monetary policy. The theory interests are used to explain how the interest rate affect the investment and consumptions. First, we move to the rate of interest are established on 1906 and used to how to determine the interest rate. Second are the theory of interest are established on 1930 that is revised and expand the visions of theory of interest. There are two factors are interactions to the theory of interest, which is the inflation rate, and investment opportunity rate, which is the IOR. Impatient rates are the willingness of community to obtain the present consumptions by giving up the future consumptions. The amount of the future consumption it is willing to check out for present consumptions depends on how impatient it is. That is mean the amount of present consumptions I give up of a persons to gain the future consumptions are depends on how impatient of that persons. If a person's left impatient, he or she is more willing to save and invest to gain the future consumptions. If a person's are impatient, he or she is less willing to save and invest, which is give up the present consumptions to gain the future consumptions. That person is more willing to obtain the goods and service presents. Next, we move to the investment opportunity rate (IOR). IOR are used to determine by the real factors such as quantity and quality of resources and the state of technology. There are two extreme cases in IOR. First is use all resources to produce the good for present consumptions alone. There did not have any capital be produced and it will may be affect the productions of future. Second are use all the resources to produce the capital and there is no good be produced, the present consumptions will be equal to zero, the future consumptions would be large. Next, we move to the diminishing marginal return according to the theory Fisher's. First, the more we save and invest and propose our gratifications, the marginal rate of returns on investment (IOR) will decrease, which is the negative returns are shown on the right of the pictures. Relative values of present consumptions impatience rate will increase. Second, the equilibrium interest rate will occur where the rate of returns on investment and the rate which is the society is willing to check of business for future consumptions are equal. So we can get the formula that the rate of returns on investment (IOR) are equal to the impatience rate. Third, some individuals will decide that it is their the best interest to raise money at pes- at a pe- at a specific interest rate, borrowers either will decide to borrow money at equivalent interest rate. The amount of people wish to borrow will just match the amount of people desire to lead. So, so the Fisher's effects are show that the long-term nominal interest rates are equal to the real interest rate plus the expected inflation rate. The increase of the stock of money may initially reduce the interest rate, but according to the Fishers, it will also cause the price to rise. As a result of this higher price, leaders will increase the nominal rate of interest by an amount equal to the rate of inflation expected over the life of their loans. In this respect, higher nominal interest rate may cause the high expected rate of inflation, as opposite to the real factors such as the time preference and real rate of returns on investment. There are two famous economists in imperfect competitions, who is the Edward Hastings Chamberlain and John Robinson. Next we continue with the Edward Hastings Chamberlain. Chamberlain was born in La Cornwall-Weston. He received his undergraduate degree from the University of Iowa. He published The Theory of Monopoly Competitions in 1933. The theory of monopolistic competitions views the previously separate theories of monetary and competitions. These books are explain a array of the market situations that neither purely competitive nor total monopolistic. Cameron hears that most market prices are actually determined by both monopolistic and competitive elements. Next, let us move to the theory of monopolistic competitions. The graph of the monopolistic competitions are such as the picture on our left-hand side. The marginal revenue curve of the monopolistic competitions must be lie below the demand or average revenue curve, and the graph of pure competitions are such as the pictures on our right-hand side. The marginal revenue is equal to the price, and the marginal revenue and demand curve are identical horizontal lines. The monopolistic competitors produce quantity B at which the marginal revenue equal to marginal cost and at which each is earned the economic profits of RMNS. Economic profit attract the new entries to the industry, resulting in a downward shift of the firm's demand and marginal revenues curve to D price and MR price. In the long-run equilibriums, the firm maximizes the profits by producing quantity A, earns only the normal profits, produce less than the competitive output, and charge a price that exceeds the marginal cost and lower average cost. This result is the exit capacity and allocative inefficiency. Many economists have reiterated that the pure competition results in large output, more efficient production, and lower selling prices than those that occurs under monopolistic competitions. But this requires two qualifications. Cameron's conclusions has built on the unrealistic assumptions that cost curve are the same in each situation. This means the pure competitions would not necessarily provide the greatest volumes of the output and the lower price. Second are the contemporary economics note that, or worse of the pure competitions, with all the products are being standardized, would be a duel indeed. The monopolistic competitions provide the positive benefit associated that the volumes of the products.
Hi, my name is Tako Singh, and my mention number is 284-887. Today, I want to introduce to you Joe Robinson. She was born in 31st October 1903. She was a British economist and was well known for her wide-ranging contribution to economic theory. She was a student of Alfred Marshall and also a long-time professor of economics at Cambridge University. She published a book named The Economic of Imperfect Competition few months after Chamberlain and covered substantially the same ground. She had made an important contribution in Keynesian and post-Keynesian economy, economic development, and international trade. She was also known as a critic of conventional economy in her later years, and her overall work are difficult to fit within any particular school of thought. Monopsony is a situation in which there is either a single buyer in a market or a group of buyers acting as one. Two markets that Joe Robinson analysis is their product market monopsony and also resources market monopsony. In a product market monopsony, when there are many buyers of a commodity, the aggregate demand curve slopes downward and to the right because it is based on marginal utility. The more unique of a good a person acquired, the lower its marginal utility and the less he or she offer for an additional unit. If there is only a single buyer or if all of the buyer from an agreement to act together, we can assume that the market demand curve remain unaltered. We can also assume that the supply curve remain unchanged because it indicates how much all the sellers together will offer at each price. The supply price is based on the cost of producing each quantity, and this cost does not change in the presence of a monopsony. Robinson also analyzes monopsony in the market for resources using the labor market as an illustration. Robinson stated two generalization, which was under poor competition, the buyer will purchase successive unit of good at any one time up to the point where the prices is equal to marginal utility. Meanwhile, under monopsony, the buyer will regulate purchase in such a way that the marginal cost to him, as distinguished from the marginal cost of production, is equal to marginal utility. These important propositions are illustrated in the table beside here. Under pure competition among buyers, suppose the market price of some hypothetical product X is $4, no single buyer can influence the price regardless of the amount that he purchases. We assume that the marginal utility data in column 5 is for a particular consumer who buy only this good. At any one time, ownership of the first unit of the product provides the consumer $7 of marginal utility. A second unit provide of $6 of marginal utility to him, the third unit $5, the fourth unit $4, and so forth. At the market price of $4, the consumer will buy 4 units of a product. That is, he will buy unit of the product up to the point where the price of $4 from column 2 is equal to the marginal utility, which was $4 from column 5. Now, suppose the same consumer is the only buyer of product S in this market. Acquiring the first through the fourth unit of the product still provide a marginal utility for him of $7, $6, $5, and $4, which were in column 5, assuming that the firm can increase the production of this product only under condition of increasing costs. Upward sloping market supply. The more unit of consumer wishes to buy, the higher will be the price. Besides, this monopsonist is the sole buyer. He must pay a higher per unit price if he wishes to buy a larger number of units. Greater output comes at higher per unit production cost. We see from column 1 and column 2 in table here, and then he can buy 1 unit of X for $1, but 2 units would cost him $2 each, for a total cost of $4. As shown in column 4, the marginal cost to him of the second unit is $3, $4 until $1 rather simply $2. The actual price of the second unit. This third dollar marginal cost, however, is less than the marginal utility of the second unit, which was $6, and therefore the person will choose to buy it. We observe from the table that this consumer will decide to buy 3 units of the product because at this amount of this marginal cost of $5 is just equal to his marginal utility of $5. The conclusion for product market monopsony under normal condition of an upward sloping product supply curve, the monopsonist will purchase fewer units of a product than would competitive buyer and will pay a lower than competitive price, which was $3 as opposed to $4. The monopsonist can control the product price by adjusting the quantity of purchases, much like a monopolistic seller can control the same price by adjusting the level of output. Robinson pointed out that in the presence of a perfect elastic supply curve, that is when marginal cost and the average cost of production are equal. The supply price will be constant and the quantity purchased under monopsony will be the same as under the poorer teacher. If an industry is working under diminishing supply price, the marginal cost to the monopolist will be less than the price of the community. He or she will buy more of the product than would poor competition. In the resources market monopsony, the monopolistic employer face a marginal wage cost curve (MWC) that lie above the market supply curve as to maximize its profit is restrict its hiring A rather than B in order to pay a lower than competitive wage, which was R rather than S. According to Robinson monopolistic exploitation in NR, the difference between marginal revenue product (MRP) and the monopoly wage. When there is monopoly or monopolistic competition in the product market, the value of the marginal product VMP exceeds MRP, and monopoly exploitation is TN. Following Marshall approach, Robinson declared that an employer's short-run labor demand curve is marginal revenue product curve (MRP). This is true in both monopolistic and competitive labor market. Marginal revenue product is the increase in total revenue to the employer when it hires and additional workers. It is the extra revenue that the firm gets when it sells the greater output than the added workers have produced. Where there is pure competition in the sales of the product, the marginal revenue product decline as more workers are hired solely because of the law of diminishing returns. Each added worker contribute less to extra output and therefore less to marginal revenue than did the previously added worker. The labor supply curve facing a monopolist look upward and to the right because the monopolist is the only employer of a particular type of labor. It faces the market labor supply curve. This curve also indicates the average wage cost, which was AWC, because it shows that the wage rate that must be paid per worker to attract a particular number of workers. Under monopoly, the marginal wage cost, the extra cost associated with employing one more worker, as is the average wage cost or wage rate. The monopolist must increase the wage rate to attract additional workers away from alternative employment, household activity, or leisure, and it must pay this higher wage rate to all of the workers. The extra cost of employing an additional worker is therefore more than the wage rate paid to that worker. It also includes the extra wage paid to the worker who could have been attracted at a lower wage rate. How many workers will the monopoly represented in figure beside here? The answer said by Robinson is A, because this is the number at which the marginal revenue product of the last worker employed just equal the marginal wage cost at the point N. If MRP were greater than MWC, it would be profitable for the firm to hire more workers. If MRP were less than MWC, the employer could add to his profit by reducing employment. The monopolist shown in the figure will pay a wage rate of L. As seen by the supply curve, it can attract its profit maximizing number of employees A at this wage rate. The conclusion for resources market monopoly. First, a labor market monopolist will employ fewer workers than would be hired by employers competing with one another for workers, such as A rather than B in the diagram above. The monopolist reduce employment to avoid driving up the wages it must pay to all workers. Second, under the monopoly, the worker is exploited. Robinson cited one definition of exploitation of labor as a factor of production, being employed at a wage that is less than one's marginal revenue product R rather than N. If the market for labor is perfect, so that each employer can hire all the labor needed at the market wage, the marginal wage cost of labor to the individual employer is equal to the wage rate. The employer will be impelled by self-interest to hire workers up to the point where the marginal revenue product is equal to the worker wage rate. Lastly, Exploitation of labor under this definition normally does not occur in a competitive labor market.
So, exploitation under monopolistic competition. Exploitation occurs when workers' wages is less than the value of marginal product of labor, VMP. Sales of an additional units of output does not add the full amount of the product price to the marginal revenue. Marginal revenues that the firm takes in when it hires an extra workers and sells the resulting greater output will be less than the extra output. Firms will then sell all units at a lower price, even those that it could sell at a higher price as it is not hired the extra workers. So exploitation, it can be divided into two parts, which is the remedies for exploitation and criticism. Next, I'll be discuss the remedies for exploitation. So first of all, trade unions of trade board should impose a minimum wages. The number two, supplies of labor become perfectly elastic at the imposed wage rate and the marginal wage cost of labor identical with the average wage cost. Thirdly, the next supply curve would be a horizontal line emanating from the vertical axis, which will then equal to marginal revenue product, and the exploitation from the monopsony would disappear. Economics have then identified monopsony power in several real-world labor markets. The criticism under the exploitation under monopolistic competition. Firstly, Pigou-Robinson definition of exploitation apply only to pure competition in the sale of products. According to Pigou-Robinson, it stated that all the factors are exploited and employers could avoid the charge of exploitation only by going into bankruptcy. It's possible under other markets condition for the all factor to get the value of their marginal products. Theoretically possible to construct the system of equation necessary to determine the profit maximizing price and quantity of output. There were a number of obstacles to practical implementation. So lastly, let's mark out the conclusion. There are two differences between the marginalist and neoclassical economics in economic analysis. So for Wicksell and Fisher, they stated that several of the neoclassical economics took a far greater interest in the role of money in the economy than did the earlier marginalists. While for Chamberlain and Robinson, they stated that neoclassical economics extended marginal analysis to market structures other than pure competition, pure monopoly, and duopoly. Wicksell's contribution to monetary economics is analysis of the role of interest rate in achieving an equilibrium price level or in generating cumulative inflationary or deflationary movement. The second one, recognizing the potential contribution of the government and central bank in retarding or promoting the price stability. Thirdly, an early statement of the savings investment approach to macroeconomics equilibrium. This established the Wicksell as the so-called father of Stockholm School of Economics. While for Fisher, he contributes to monetary economics, three theories: theory of interest, quantity theories of money, and monetary policy. While for Chamberlain and Robinson, they contribute the theories of imperfect competition. Chamberlain's contribute theory of monopolistic competition, while for Robinson, he contribute the theory of monopsony. So that's all from the group. Thank you.